So, Mark, did you see that picture of retired credit cards made out into art, the American flag? You zoom in, you see all the ones you recognize: Chime, Apple, Bank of America. Well done.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know, like when you get towards the end, do you just start applying for things that are the colors you need and things like that? Or do you say, oh, I lost this card and need a new one, and so you can get like another white card? But no, it's really cool. And I used to just chop up everything. I've been keeping mine off the side for the last several years, so I have a ton. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with them, but there's people out there that could build this with just authorized user cards.
There used to be a guy that went to the Chicago seminars and FTU, and he would wear a vest made of credit cards. And believe it or not, it might sound nerdy, but everybody dug it. They all loved it.
Wasn't that just TBG?
No. That's right. He wore a jacket with sapphire cards at some event, some award. I guess credit card nerds be nerds. I mean, we like to wear our credit cards on our sleeve.
Well, he wore it because Chase paid to be crowned the number one card.
Sales. I love award sales, and Flying Blue has their promo awards every month basically, and you have an article that you keep updating so people can kind of bookmark that and see what the latest ones are. We'll talk about March, and March they have some decent deals. I'm looking at this, Mark, and looking at the US to Europe, 18,750 miles in economy. I remember flying from Paris to Detroit, I think 3 years ago for 13,000. So times have changed a little bit, but these can still be great deals. They do have fuel surcharges, not as bad as some other airlines, but always transfer bonuses with different credit cards. This is one to keep an eye on, especially if you're not worried too much about economy. I feel like they used to have better business class deals in the past, but it seems like the best things are just economy now, right?
Yeah, they used to, I feel like, fill it with more business class, and they still pop in there sometimes. A lot of times it's from Europe to Asia or stuff like that instead of US, because you have to remember Flying Blue is based in Europe. So this is mainly for like Europeans. We just get little bits and pieces here, but they'll have flights from Europe to the Caribbean. So you could take advantage of it to do interesting routes home, maybe hit something else on the way, also Central America, and then find a cheap flight from there back to the US. So there are opportunities here, even if you like don't think in the box of has to be US to Europe or Europe to US. You have some options there. The cool thing is it comes out every first of the month, unless it's on the weekend, then it comes like that Monday. So they do this routinely. It's not going to be for every date during the dates listed. So you got to get a little bit lucky there. But it's always worth checking out and seeing what matches up.
Yeah, it should be on your radar. And then if you get lucky enough, like when I did that Detroit flight, they had a 40% transfer bonus. So it was like stupid cheap. And I almost felt like I was stealing the flight. So I was happy to fly in economy for that. And, from Detroit to Paris or Paris to Detroit, 7 hours or something, not too bad. So, yeah, sometimes you got to live life and fly in the back.
I'll be taking that flight at the end of the year, the exact same one. We booked it with Virgin because it was cheaper to do Virgin. I think it was like 10,000 miles or something crazy like that.
So we came across this video this week of a pod hotel in Tokyo, and it's comparing like a $40 pod hotel to a $120 pod hotel. And it kind of shows you how far pod hotels, especially in Japan, but Asia has a lot of them especially, but they've really come a long way. And this $120 one, it looks great. I mean, it's still claustrophobic and all of that, but great.
Yeah, I think, and then they also have like public spaces sometimes, or places you can go work or have a drink and stuff like that. So it makes it more of like a community backpacker type feeling. You definitely don't have the privacy that you're used to, especially in the $40 pod hotel. Guy above him's alarm, he said, was going off for like 4 hours, which is super annoying. Where the other one would the bed would start to move up when it was the alarm time and wake you up that way and turn on the lights. And that's a better way for everybody else involved in this area. But then we see similar things in the US as lounges, like minute suites where you can use your priority pass card to get an hour in there. I've taken advantage of those and I really enjoy it. You get your own room with a door, a fold down like futon type of thing, a TV. So you get some more privacy versus sleeping around everybody else.
I haven't stayed in a ton of these. I've done the minute suites. I did stay in a pod inside Hanoi Airport, which was super cool. And it was in the public area, and it was all pods. So it was a hotel, but it was in the middle, or it was in the airport itself. And yeah, you could hear things outside. This was a little bit different, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not a bad way to go. And if you don't need the space and you don't care, it's great. You just have to be aware of some of the stuff. I guess it's probably similar to a hostel in many ways.
maybe even better than a hostel because you're not in a room with tons of bunk beds and everybody like in the same space. Technically, you got some walls separating you and everything. And I was going to book one when I flew. I was going to fly Detroit to Frankfurt and then Frankfurt to Bangkok originally. And I was going to have a long layover in Frankfurt. They have a similar type of thing, not exactly pods. You got your own room, more like minute suites, but I think it was like $130, something like that for a day rate. And I could have spent, my 7-hour layover in there. So definitely check it out. It's bigger overseas than you'll find in the US, but it is a good option if you have a longer layover.
One of the things I've enjoyed the most over the last few years is seeing more and more airlines offer free Wi-Fi. Got to give a shout out to JetBlue back in the day because they were offering it for quite a long time. But with Starlink coming to more and more planes, it seems like we are almost to the age of free Wi-Fi on planes, but American Airlines dragging behind. They're only doing a test and it's on 3 different routes. The rest of people have to pay, but I think back like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you used to have to pay for Wi-Fi at hotels. That it just became this thing that we all have. I think that's what's happening with airplanes.
Yeah, I hope so. And American is the most expensive. I'm back from Rio, and I had a flight from JFK to O'Hare, and I needed to get some work done. It was a Monday morning. I wanted to get some articles together and schedule them, and I had to pay $19 for 1 hour of Wi-Fi. The whole flight, which is like a 2-hour flight, was $29, which I find insane. Like I've been on planes where it's like $7. I'm okay paying $7-8. $20 for an hour is just, and it's bad Wi-Fi. It's not even like decent Wi-Fi. So it's a struggle. And, with Delta having all their TVs in the back of the headrests and stuff, I'm kind of surprised they don't go more this way. And American has a great setup now that a lot of their planes have the flip down thing where you can put your phone there and it holds it, or your tablet. Like just offer Wi-Fi with free movies for everybody, free streaming, and get rid of that. It reduces the weight on your planes. I'm surprised more haven't done it. Hopefully that's where the future is going.
I think so. I do kind of miss the days of no Wi-Fi on planes. I don't tend to pay for it if I don't have to. I don't raw dog a flight, but I do like sort of the quietness of it. And even when I was flying back from Hawaii, where we had Starlink on Hawaiian Airlines, I probably only used it for a few minutes because I just was watching stuff. And so I don't know that it's a huge deal, but I think it's coming and it's fast. Starlink, like for instance, on that Hawaiian flight, it didn't feel much different than being on land. And that is a huge jump compared to where internet was on planes even a few years ago.
All hail Elon.
We're tying it all together. So the Hilton cards have increased bonuses, and this is actually exciting because they came back with their offers that have the free night certificate. So specifically the no annual fee Amex card, $70K after $2K in spend plus the free night, and then the Surpass $130K after $3K in spend plus the free night. The business card also has a 175,000 point offer without a free night, and the Aspire is left out from the fun. But the no annual fee, the Surpass, these are great cards, and that free night certificate is super, super valuable.
Yeah, by far the most valuable, most useful free night certificate. And it was like that a couple years ago already. And then they made it where you could use it any night instead of just on the weekends, which was always a little bit annoying. But this thing works at SLH hotels that they're adding, works at properties that go up to like 150K. You just have to have a standard night available. It's really so strong. That's why I'm so mad that they took it away from the Hilton business card that you could earn it after 15K in spend. It's still on the Surpass card. The Surpass card is my favorite hotel card out there, probably because I don't spend towards Hyatt status like some others do. So Hyatt might be their favorite, but I think Surpass is the best bang for the buck in return on spend, 15-night free Kate cert, cheap annual fee, all that stuff. The cool thing is Hilton doesn't have the family rules like other Amex cards do, so you can get them in any order on the personal side. I don't know if you want to start from the bottom up in case they ever do roll it out because you're just screwed at that point. They will count against 524. If you're under 524, the business card still has that increased offer with a ton of points. Still a pretty good offer.
Yeah, I think the Surpass card is the place to start here. Probably that's it. But I mean, these certs, when are they going to cap these things or do something with them? Because the cash prices on some of the, I mean, you can go to any Hilton in the world and people are getting $1,500 a night rooms, certainly over $1,000 a night regularly. And as you say, Hilton's adding more and more nice properties too. So gotta love it.
Yeah, at least let us book them online. Can we get there?
No, because then they're going to change it. Leave it the way it is. Just leave it the way it is. So exciting news. Chase announced that they were going to have these bonus categories for the Freedom Card where you get a month to get an extra category to use your same $1,500 threshold. So it doesn't even give you extra spend. And this
Are you being
category
sarcastic?
Yeah,
With the
maybe.
great news part.
This month, you can do tax preparation and insurance. Very exciting. I mean, they already had grocery stores on there, which to me is the most exciting of all of these. But there's nothing exciting about adding an extra category like tax prep for 1 month with no extra cap. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we wish they would have done. I do think, there are people that will spend some money on tax stuff. So this will make sense. If you don't spend a ton at the grocery store or the other options, then maybe this helps you out a bit. I'm guessing a lot of people already have their quarter done. So this is pretty useless. But it would have been cool even if it was just like, here's an extra 500 or $1,000 cap at 5 times. That's how you celebrate your anniversary. You don't go like, oh, well, we'll throw you a little bit of a bone. Like, what is the next one going to be like? 7-Eleven nachos you get 5 times next quarter for a month?
And to put my Mark hat on for a second, they could have just released this category in January with all the other categories, and then you would have had the 3 months. So actually, in a way, they've made it worse for you.
Yeah, it's tough.
So should you get a Discover card? We know that Capital One is taking over Discover, and there's a lot of questions happening about that. But I guess the big question is whether you should get a Discover card now or not. You have a whole article about that on Travel on Points, kind of breaking down what you should do and how you can maximize it by getting up to 5 quarters of the increased cashback and therefore getting an even better sort of value for your sign up.
Yeah, that's like the question we got to ask ourselves first off is if Capital One takes over, do applications get more difficult with Discover because Capital One can be easy for some, near impossible for others. Each of them have like their own little caps. You can only have 2 Discover cards at any time. You can only have a couple Capital One cards at a time. It just gets more difficult. So when they combine, do those things combine? Does Capital One add their own application rules towards it, their own compliance and the way that they look at people, who to approve and who not to? Or do they keep them as separate companies and just move Capital One onto Discover's network to save money there? That was the main purpose of the purchase, is they wanted to get their own network and grow it. I don't know. What do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll keep them separate, at least for a while? But what do you think long term?
Discover doesn't have a robust product portfolio or all these different cards. I say that Capital One just rolls the Discover card into the Capital One brand. I don't know. That's what I would do, is just have that sort of 5% rotating category card as a Capital One card. And then they really have everything else in-house with Capital One. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think they're going to rebrand the payment network?
I don't think they can. I think it would be way too costly to send everybody the little stuff to put up in their windows and everything. I think they'll roll with Discover. It's a known brand. It's actually a really beloved brand because people think Discover has the best customer service. It's always US based. We're probably going to lose that. And that's the thing I'm most worried about. These are the things we're considering. If you're over 524, I think it might be, worth looking at. If you're under, then probably just, stick where you're at. But they also have these sign up bonuses where if you use a personal referral, you get $100 and then they match all the cash back that you earn for a year. If you get the 5% card, they match those too. So the quarterly is 10%. So you're already getting 10% on $1,500 a quarter, 4 quarters in a year. But if you time that application in the middle of a quarter and you can maximize it quickly in, let's say, 6 weeks instead of 12 weeks, you get that one. And then the following year, you get another half quarter. So you really get 5 opportunities at quarters. Even if you can't maximize them, there's usually a quarter that isn't the greatest for you. So this gives you more bites at the apple.
Have you heard anything recently about spending offers for cardholders with Discover? It used to be you could chat with them and sometimes get some offers if you already have a card. Have we heard any data points recently about that?
I have not seen people reaching out, but they do send out emails. I just got one that's like, spend $1,000 this quarter, get an extra $75, which if you're doing the quarterly bonuses anyway, you get that. They always send out add an authorized user, get $50 or $25 after first purchase. So there's all those different things too. And then they do have like Discover. You can use your cash back to sometimes get gift cards at a better rate than at 1 cent per point. So there's different ways to take advantage of their program for sure.
On a previous show, we talked about the Capital One Venture Card and its increased offer, which is the 75,000 miles plus the $250 Capital One travel credit. But there is a better version of the offer coming from referrals if you know somebody. Now, not everybody is able to refer, so I guess people have to check, but they can refer for 100,000 bonus miles after $5,000 in purchases in the first 3 months. So about $1,000 in travel, plus you can transfer those elsewhere, get much more value than that. This is a great deal if you have this referral, send it to everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a great offer. The highest it's ever been is 100K. I mean, on its face, If you use the eraser credits, the 250 plus 75 and 100,000, pretty much the same. But you're not stuck at booking anything through the travel portal to get it. You can book whatever you want and erase it that way. And then, like you said, if you transfer to partners, you can get even more money for it. And I think people would rather have points that aren't going to expire versus the travel credit. So this is for sure the better offer if you can get it. And yeah, it all depends on what you pull up via your referral. And I wish they would have just offered this publicly, made it easy on everybody, but here we are.
One last credit card story. Imagine you apply for a credit card, but the bank approves you for two of the same cards with separate account numbers. They run your credit twice, maybe even, and you get two slots on your credit report for 524 for everything else. Apparently, that's what's happened this week with Barclays. You have several data points of people applying for a card, getting multiple. We still don't know if they're going to earn multiple bonuses on these or if Barclays will go back and fix this once they figure it out. Hopefully they will and just get rid of the extra account and do all of that. But we don't know. Computers, man.
Yeah, I think it depends on what situation you're in. And a lot of people, I think we talked about this recently. A lot of people are jumping the gun and getting all, oh, Barclays is going to lose American and Hawaiian's going away. We got to get them now. Well, the sun's not setting yet. You had time. And if you were messing around with 524 and I can use one slot, but then I can still get the chase cards I want. Well, now if it burned two slots, you might be over. That's why we say, like, do it in order. Stay on your path. Don't let things distract you. And we don't know if they'll post because you have to pay the annual fee. You have to have the one charge. You have to wait the month for all that to settle. And then you might get the points. But if you're over 524, you're like, heck yeah, give me two bonuses on a card that might be going away. So you're like, don't go back and fix it. So it'll all depend. But it stinks for anybody that was like, let's say you're at 324. You're like, I only need one more chase card. I'll grab this real quick before it goes away. And now you're at 524. A whole difficult thing going on. I don't know. It sucks. It stinks that Barclay hasn't figured it out yet or fixed it. It's happening quite a bit. So yeah, I don't know. This is a mess.
Just wait till they report their new account numbers to Wall Street and they'll be happy. And I'm sure some executives are getting nice bonuses for double signups and all of that. So who knows, but it's
buy
weird.
Stock now.
And now for some cool Rio for Carnival. We are going to talk later in the week on the podcast all about your trip, but give us a preview.
Yeah, what I really want to focus on in the cool S section is Sugarloaf Mountain, which is just outside of Copacabana Beach. It took us like a 10-minute cab ride from our hotel, but we were on the one end of it, so it might be like 20 minutes from the other end, depending on traffic. But you take a tramway up there. There's two mountains. The first mountain, and I didn't expect this. I thought it'd be more like you just take views. You have cool views of the city and everything. Everybody talks about Christ the Redeemer and the views up there, which are a bit better. But when you get up to this first mountain, there's stores, there's restaurants, there's places to grab drinks, there's views. There was a DJ playing music, a helicopter to fly out on and in, and all kinds of craziness. Then you go up to the peak, the top mountain, even better views. And then they have restaurants on the cliff overlooking Copacabana Beach, overlooking downtown. Great food. I think we had like filet and fish. Each was like $22 US. Drinking beers, watch the sunset. It was one of the most amazing places I've been. If you do nothing else in Rio, that would be the thing I would say to do. Also, buy the Skip the Line pass. It's a wristband, and unlike Christ the Redeemer, it works going up and down. There was lines at like 7:30 at night, and it was worse for Carnival that wrapped around the entire island 30 minutes before close. I'm talking like 2 to 3 hour wait to get off the island. We passed all of them. They dropped ropes everywhere we went. You just showed your ticket again. You had a wristband and you got on the very next cable car. It was perfect. It was $50. I think the regular pass is $30. So it's not even a big markup. You can buy them online ahead of time. You don't have to wait in line when you get there to buy the tickets or anything like that. It's amazing.
Can't wait to hear about the rest of the trip. It does look amazing. I know you tweeted out some stuff about that. And let us know what you guys think about anything we discussed on the show, all the credit card stuff. Are you looking forward to the Rio podcast in a couple days? Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, but this week, this show, and then Friday we'll have the podcast, and then we'll be back to our normal schedule Monday and Wednesday of next week. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Talk to you next time.
Even got to eat with lemur monkeys, Sean.
I'm jealous. So you see how I cut that off quickly? I was just full of jealousy right there.
Have a good week, everybody.